Hello, ladies and gents. This is Jamie Blosman, the host of the Femcanic Garage podcast. Welcome to the 5-part series of the dirty little secrets in the automotive and skilled trades industries. This blog series is brought to you by Chasidy Sisk Writing and Communication and Femcanic Garage. We have interviewed industry experts on topics related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're excited to share their knowledge and experience with all of you. Now let's get started. Hello everyone, this is Jamie B coming to you, and welcome to the dirty little secrets of the automotive and skilled trades industries. What are we doing right now? We have 3 brave gentlemen willing to sit down with me and have an open conversation about some of the quotes that are in the blog series that we launched last year for Women's History Month. And first and foremost, I want to thank all 3 of you for being willing to, 1, give us a little bit of your time, and 2, to be open about and have an open conversation about some of these topics. So first of all, I just want to say thank you very much, gentlemen. I truly appreciate you giving the time for this. I do want to cover a few things just so that the listeners and or watchers understand what this is and what it is not. What this is are 4 individuals having an open conversation where we are going to read one quote that we collected from women anonymously and ask them about experiences, both positive and negative, that they have had in the automotive and skilled trades industries. And we took those quotes and we provided each of the gentlemen a list of quotes that they could pick from. And there's going to be 2 that I'm going to read out loud, and then we'll have an open discussion about those quotes and the experiences that those women had. That's what this is. What this is not a male bashing, bra burning thing. This is about having adult, mature conversations about opportunities that maybe we could improve in our industry to make it more inviting for everyone. I think the last part that we're covering, Burl, it is your turn in the hot seat, my friend. Which quote did you choose?
Jane, I had some pretty tough quotes there. There was some, there was a lot to go through. So you're going to have to excuse me for just a couple of minutes and maybe pull my phone unless you want to read it. If you want me to read it, give me just a few
I
minutes.
can read it. I kind of want to hear it in your voice, to be honest.
All right. So if you guys just hang tight, take a drink of water or something, give me just a few minutes. I'll be
Absolutely.
right back. All right. I'm going to find it out.
With the southern draw and everything. I want to hear what it sounds like.
All right. So I went with the second one. And it says on here, the constant rumors of sleeping around, and of course, sleeping with supervisors to get job statements. My supervisor once told me the only way to keep your job is to go spread your legs like a good girl. I spread my legs for no one. I went to HR and they moved him to a different shop. That's coming out of Oregon. When I read that, I was just like, wow, that's, the most disturbing thing is it said they switched this individual still works there and they moved him to another position. He needs his ass whooped is what needs to happen. That's horrible. Really, that's horrible. So I can't really put myself in that, I don't think, position as a woman, but I can tell you, and even having this conversation with you guys, I can tell you, I'll be having a conversation with my supervisors over the next couple of days because some of these situations these ladies have been put in is just it's uncalled for. So my heart goes out to them. I like what she said. She says she doesn't do that for anyone. She went to HR, which is great, but you definitely, I don't know. There's something wrong with these people. That's all I can tell you. To say something like that. I mean, the audacity to say something like that. The sad thing is something could have been said like that at my shop, and maybe I didn't know about it. And I think that's why I need to have a conversation with my folks. Brian's point earlier. You're not going to change people's mind, but I can damn sure let them know what my expectations are. And my folks already know that. My general managers know that. I have multiple managers at multiple locations, And, we've had the conversations, I don't guess just specifically women, but anybody. I didn't really single women out, just any employee when there's an issue like that, bring it to my attention because, even though we're still considered a small business, we have a lot of different moving parts and pieces. And I wouldn't want anybody to be working, for me that dreaded to go to work every day, because they had to put up with some bullshit like that. So,
It feels
that's
unsafe for women.
it does feel unsafe, and I'm just really flabbergasted that somebody would say that, um, to say that to somebody in a work in any environment, especially a working environment. That's just crazy. And listen, I'm from East Texas, and I've been accused of being a little bit redneck. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't put up with that crap at my shop. It wouldn't happen. But at the same time, I would need to know about it.
I want to read the first quote as well, if you don't mind, Burl,
Sure, sure,
because the other guys didn't see these, because
yeah.
we separated them out. And similar topic, week 5 covers sexual harassment, and this kind of extends past, the conversation that we started from part 4. But I want to read this one. This one came from a woman in Texas, ironically. Burl, there you go. And she's 40 years old. This is an experience that she shared, and this is what she had to say. A customer said, "It makes my dick hard to watch you work on my truck." I replied, "That line doesn't only not work on real women, you sound like a rapist. You don't know me. Do not talk to me like that. It's disgusting. I bet you're the guy sending dick pics nobody wants." He got all offended, said he was just trying to give me a compliment. I refused to work until he left me alone. It takes a lot to offend me, but oh my God, that pissed me right off. I couldn't go to my boss because he encouraged that behavior. Hell, he participated in it. Offered me $50 if he could touch my ass. He would tell ladies that they'd die in a wreck unless they got a $400 brake job, but he'd offer discounts for a blowjob. That job was a shit show, but it was a stepping stone and created my armor. They are very much out of business now. Thank God. But I mean, just to put this in perspective, this is just 4 quotes, right? When I got on private Facebook groups, like women's only Facebook groups, and just asked the question, and it was truly this simple of a question. Um, Share a positive experience in the industry that you've had. And in a separate post, I had them share a negative. I had 24 single spaced front and back pages of quotes similar to what you gentlemen have read. Just experience after experience. I had a total of 4 pages of positive experiences. Now, we could interpret that a couple ways. Oh, they're just bitching and complaining. But if I'm being honest, gentlemen, and this, Kevin, this kind of goes back to like what you kind of wanted to get a feel of where I stand on things. When I read these things, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I asked myself, would how would do I feel that my daughter would be safe in this environment? Would I ever want my daughter to be in this industry, working in these shops? And the answer I had was no. Um, because I want her to be safe. Now, does that mean that all shops are that way? Absolutely not. But it's my daughter. You know what I mean? Like I want her to be safe. I don't You want to fix everything for them. And then I catch myself and say, no, she has to learn how to set these boundaries for herself. But that's the hardest part for me as a parent, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, we really don't think about that for our sons, right? I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. Why? But I'm a woman and I immediately went to my daughter and will she be safe? Do I think she'll be safe? And it's terrifying to me. I mean, it is. Like, I want to know that someone has her back and would actually do or say something. So, Kevin, it's crazy that when I read these things, like my jaw dropped. And you're right, bro. Chess gave you. I
That's
mean,
quite the questions or the quotes you got there.
woo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's and to your point, Brian, you asked earlier, is this interview PG-13? Well, this uh that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
with these quotes. So those are two quotes. I'm going to go to you, Brian, and kind of your thoughts and feelings around what these ladies experienced.
Uh, so unfortunately, like I honestly have to say, the only part that I'm surprised about is the fact that that shop is shut down. That's the only part that I'm actually surprised about. From other shops I've worked in the past, I've never actually worked with any female techs in any of the shops I've worked at, but just in a general sense, obviously we had like female service advisors, cashiers, and whatever other positions. I don't know if it's not in the shop. I don't know what they do, but point being, there was females, and just I didn't witness anything like terrible happen, but just the way everyone talks, everyone talks behind each other's back, and the general mentality towards every single female employee. I've seen it all, so none of that really surprises me.
I don't want to make assumptions, Brian. When you say just generally the way they talk about females, again, I don't want to make any assumptions. You're referring. What
Oh,
do you mean
I
by
mean,
that?
just generic comments such as like she doesn't belong here. I mean, she couldn't handle any of, I don't know what this other chick is doing at another shop. Just she's just getting attention, all that.
Yeah.
Uh, just generally, just general shit like that. Can't really remember anything specific off the top of my head.
I'm
Yeah,
just. I'm
so
just. Or,
I don't
go
know where to
ahead, Brian. I'm
start
sorry.
with. Oh, yeah, that
You're
that's
speechless.
because that's a really tough quote. And that was kind of the reason I chose my quote too. I chose like one of the easier ones that I like had a discussion for.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would anybody want to point me in a starting direction and I can go
It's
off from
tough,
there?
right? It's like,
I think that girl when that guy was talking to her behind her, um, I'm glad she stood up for herself. It just sucks that she
you
had to.
notice she was 40 years old, and that's
Yeah,
the difference between early 20 something,
yeah. But I mean, so
right?
she's had some time to grow some thick skin, and I'm glad she did that and stood up. But how long was she at that shop? How long did she put herself through that? That could have lasted 2 days and been gone, right? Unless she felt like she needed that job, but she shouldn't have to learn to be like that. None of us should have to learn to be like that, to have those witty comments to come back at. But she stood up for herself, and I'm happy that she did. I think that's a great move on her part. But Jamie, on your side, when you're just talking about your daughter and how to raise her and what field to put her in, I would tell you to raise her to own that shop and not work for somebody, and own it so she can tell somebody there how to be, right? Don't let anybody talk to her the way that they were in these quotes. Let her be the guy to say, get out, because it's my shop. So that's kind of how I would tell you to raise her.
And I'm doing my damnedest to do that,
I'm
Kevin.
sure you are. I'm sure you are.
The
So
thing I keep wondering with a lot of
go
these
ahead, Brian.
quotes is because it seems like we're hearing a lot of stories about like thick-skinned women who are able to muddle through it by themselves, which is great, but isn't most of this shit just straight up like legal harassment or sexual assault that like somebody should actually get involved and do something about it instead of being up to the individual female to be thick-skinned. Like, is none of that shit kicking in like shops?
Yeah, like
You know,
the banter I was talking about at my shops when it's all fun, it never
Yeah,
gets to that level. It would never get to that level. They're all
because you
family
guys
guys.
understand that
Yeah, but because
because
we're
you all know it's
smart enough to
banter.
know it, right? Exactly. We're all smart enough to know that, and to bring somebody in to talk like that, never happened. And it's just it's reality, and it happens today. But it's sad that it's happening.
and
Because
see,
I feel
that's
like,
the difference, Kevin, right? Like this is, and I'm telling you, of the, I don't know if it was 100, but it sure, we read through a lot of quotes, and if I'm being honest, guys, this week, this for this particular blog post, Chaz and I had to walk away from it for a few weeks because we were so angry, and we didn't want to be those bitter women that sound like man haters when we're not at all.
Hmm.
But this shit's unacceptable. And the thing that I'm trying to understand is, in some of these quotes, is that the women will talk about how, Brian, to your point, they're zeroed out or they're an easy target. And I just sit there and wonder, what are the, I know there's other men there that hear it, right? And Brian, you talk about that. You work in the shop, you're a tech, where you hear
hmm
stuff, right? The bay next to you or whatever.
hmm
What is being done? I'm not in the shop. I don't know. I've never been a tech, never going to be. But I just, like, my heart goes out to these women, and I just immediately, like I said, went to my daughter, and like, when the shop closes at, let's say, 7 or 8 and it's dark out, would I feel safe with her being there alone with some of these people? Or do I feel safe that my manager will stick up for me and call a customer out and fire them? I don't know. Like,
She wouldn't be
these are
there.
the questions.
She wouldn't be there because you've raised her to the point where she wouldn't be there that long to be put there. You know what I mean? To be
God,
around
I
it, she
hope
wouldn't want
not.
to be around it. She probably would have left. You know?
I hope not.
Yeah,
It,
exactly.
Yeah.
and it's ironic, Kevin, because I've literally just had that conversation with my daughter
Yeah.
around, how do you want to be spoken to? I can't decide that for you. I can tell you what I hope for you, but this is, you got to figure this out. And bro, I see you sitting there. I'm just curious what's going through that noggin.
Well, it just goes back, to just knowing, and really just speaking of today, in the industry today. Um, I just think there's so many opportunities out there that it's easy for me to say that everybody's in a different position, but they don't have to put up with that. There's just too many other opportunities out there.
Hmm.
And to your point with your daughter, I mean, that's where it starts. I mean, you're teaching her this now. You're talking to her now about these things, and she needs to know she doesn't have to put up with that crap. And it really just honestly, it infuriates me to know that somebody has to deal with that. I hate that they're doing it, but I can tell you, if you're listening to this and you're a female and you're a technician, call me.
Yeah.
We need technicians, but also I think that they should, if that's going on, they need to be able to they need to go to the owner of that business or the general manager of that business, and they just need to let them know that they're not going to put up with this shit, and you're not going to be talked to. Then you're not. It's not going to happen. So I think those conversations need to happen too. You've got to. You're dealing if you're dealing with this on a daily basis like that, and you go to the owner or the management and they're not going to do anything about it, it's just really time for you to find work somewhere else.
And that's the healthiest thing you can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Back to what you were asking earlier, though, Jamie. For like those of us in the shop here and this shit, because so I haven't personally witnessed anything like really terrible in front of my eyes in the shops that I've worked at, but it's only like the past like 2 3 years that I've kind of just started speaking up a little more at my work. It's more like I've been just kind of biting my tongue for the longest time, like in a school scenario. But I think it just starts with having conversations, kind of like just like we are right now. Like I'll hear my coworker saying like some stupid shit about what a female coworker did a while ago, and I'll bring it up to him like you're bitching about what she did. Isn't that's the exact same shit you did last week when you were bitching about like somebody else getting special treatment? You went to the manager about it, and I forgot exactly what he got out of it, but I'll bring it up like it's the same shit you did, except you can get away with it and nobody says shit to you. But she like you don't see her that same way. I don't say it like with this aggressiveness right off the bat, because that's immediately gonna bring up like a shield. They're not gonna listen to anything I say afterwards. More like I kind of have to like I guess like gently lead them to the point I'm trying to make. It sounds like some sleazy politician like sales shit, unfortunately, but I mean that's the only way that I've seen conversations that I can, kind of make happen. Because I'm trying to have like conversations with people and not like a yelling match.
I want to give each of you an opportunity. Two final things. Each of you an opportunity that if you had an opportunity to give a message based on our conversation here today, and you can share a message with women in our industry, what would that message be? And Kevin, I'm going to start with you, my friend.
Why'd you have to start with me? I was thinking here. Don't take any shit. Number one, you got to own it, right? So know who you are and know what you can do, and don't let them belittle you. Just know where you can go and the goals you can achieve. Just don't let them stand in front of you to hold you back. So that's more than just, it's kind of one blurred together. Just be
Burl?
strong, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you're in that position, you need to give it some thought. And I always say you can't win the game if you don't understand the rules to the game. So understand what you're doing, understand the career path that you've chosen. Um, and if there's no way, if you know all the rules and you can't win the game where you are, it's time to leave. And I understand we all have to feed our families, and we have to make money. So you got to get past that. But really, I would just encourage women that are dealing with this to just figure out what they're going to do about it, because it's never going to change if you keep doing the same thing every day, or if you keep showing up every day and you don't say anything. So it's time to make a change, and you can make a quiet exit, you can make a really loud exit. That's up for you to decide. But I would definitely bring it to the if you love your job and you love everything about your job except for that situation, then I think it's time to go to the upper management or the ownership to see if you can get something done. If you can't, then honestly, it's time to go somewhere else. And last thing I'll say about that, if you've been through this scenario, or if you've been through this somewhere else, when you're having a job interview, these should be concerns that you raise up with them. How do you handle a situation like that? I've been in situations where, these things have happened in the past. As an organization, what would you do about it? I want to be judged on my production, or, my job. I don't want to be judged on that. And I don't want to, bring up red flags. For me personally, I want to know, what would you do? So that would be my suggestion.
That's great advice, Burl. Brian?
Uh, so if I'm saying it only to the females out there, because like I said, it's a two-way street, so I'd like to say a message to both men and women, I guess. But for the females, you guys brought up earlier, that we feel the need to like take a job for the pay, but I can't stress enough, how important it is to not be at a place where everyone is against you. That shit'll wear anyone down. So just step back, and I don't. It's probably gonna be hard to find a place where you're actually supported, but make that the priority. Like where you're actually gonna be supported for what you do. And that's easier said than done, but uh, that's all I got.
And, Burl, you kind of alluded to this. I think it's, I asked what you would share with women. It's a two-way street, right? As women, we need to communicate what our boundaries are clearly, right? And two, I think, from a company and industry perspective, we need to start having more conversations. And it's not from an accusatory or a fear space, it's from a mutual respect. That's it. There are those women just like there's guys, some of those women are about attention, unfortunately, and it ruins it for the women who are serious, right?
Right.
And there's going to be that. But the majority of women want to be respected for being an expert in her craft, right? And that's where it starts and stops. Uh, but it has to go both ways, right? She has a responsibility, and I think the industry and the companies and the shops have a responsibility for making it clear what the expectation is in your company or shop. And Burl, I mean, heck, this has been considered a massive win for me, simply because you're going to have a conversation, right? And it goes back to as simple as what you're saying, Brian. Let's just have conversations. It's not saying anyone's bad. It's like, let's prevent this bullshit from happening in the first place. And here's my expectation of the type of environment I want my company to be known for and have. That's it. That's it.
My name is Kevin Robinson. I have two businesses. I do auto hail repair and paintless dent repair, and the company name is called Clean Cars of Denver, and I'm in Denver, Colorado. My phone's 720-231-1839. And then I sell a tool to help take wheels and tires off of a car. We're promoting safety in the workplace. So the company's called TRAC, and you could find us at liftwithtrac.com, and that's TRAC, liftwithtrac.com. Just check us out on the web and reach out, and we'll get back to you with whatever we can help you with.
I'm Brian, and I'm an automotive tech. Mainly, I've been a BMW tech for the past 6 years, both independent and dealer. Worked at a Nissan dealer 2 years before that, and wrenching in general, I've been doing since 2011, so however many years that is.
Yeah, my name is Burl Richards, and I own Burl's Collision Center in Henderson, Texas. I also own a couple of body shops, Red River Collision Center in Bossier City, which is right outside of Shreveport, Louisiana. And then I'm also the president of the Auto Body Association of Texas. So if there's any folks looking for job placement in Texas in this industry, you can reach out to ABAT. You can reach out to our director. Her name is Jill Tuggle, and Jill is absolutely awesome. You can go to abat.us. You can get a hold of Jill. We have chapters all across the state. So San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, the Abilene market here in East Texas. So I really enjoyed the conversation. Enjoyed being able to meet you guys. It was really neat.
Well, gentlemen, as I mentioned before, it's been an absolute honor, and I truly appreciate you guys taking the time to do this and have a conversation that a lot of people would avoid, like the plague or the coronavirus, since we're in this. But so thank you, gentlemen.
Right.
I greatly appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. By being open to learning more about these topics, you are fueling a movement that creates a safer and more inclusive environment for women in our industry. And for that, we thank you. It's up to all of us to keep this conversation alive. The only way to rid the industry of the darkness is to shine light on it. The entire 5-part blog series of the dirty little secrets of the automotive and skilled trades industries can be found on ChasidyRaySisk.com and Femcanic.com. Until next time, my friends.